doing a long-awaited second review. I'm sorry that there's been so much time in between my videos. I didn't mean for there to be so much time this time around. But we're going to do a large amount of stuff tonight. It's going to be... we got to build some more models and do the rest of the review of the Deadpool Marvel Crisis Protocol pack. I'm going to do some side painting of some other stuff, which I don't know if we'll break it into two separate videos, but we might. But we shall see. So this is going to be a little bit more of a model build, but it can also be a Marvel painting video too, because I do have stuff to paint. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to combine videos tonight, because I don't really have a place for these guys. Because they're just some whiz kid models, which sort of could be Marvel-esque, since there's many dinosaurs in the Marvel universe. There's very many larger apes or creatures, so I think we can make it work. So if you will, a crossover of sorts into many other things. I am bringing back having the music going while I'm painting. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to make it a little bit of a lower volume, and we'll see how it goes. I know it's kind of stagnant when I just talk, so I thought this might be nice to listen to, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so if you didn't check out the first video, you can totally do that. I want to give a shout out, as always, to the sponsor of this video, which is Undiscovered Realms. You can check out a link to them on my page, so underneath the video. And that's where I get all my model stuff from, all my tabletop stuff. And anytime I do any of my gaming, card gaming stuff, that is all through those guys. So I always like to give them a shout out. Please check out their website. They ship anywhere in the United States, and you can do so. So I figured we'd do some epic music, because I don't really have any superhero-y music. All right, you guys can see what we're listening to, so everybody gets the credit that is credit due. So we were on to the Chimichanga truck. So just a recap on the last video, and you can check out me building these guys. Oops. Don't do stagnant. Okay, there we go. You can see the close up. That was the Deadpool model that we built last time. So you can see really, really cool, especially now it's on the base. Love the detail, love the zaniness of it, because of course, why wouldn't it be zany? It's Deadpool. And then Agent Bob, we have him with the chef's hat, because if you don't know, when he meets Agent Bob and Agent Bob changes his ways, they go on a whirlwind tour with the Chimichanga truck, being mercenaries, of course, but for good, for heroes, for good guys. So this kit comes with those two guys and a Chimichanga truck. So it has a scenery piece. We're going to be building the Chimichanga truck right now, so we can take a look at that. If you want to go into the other video where I go a little bit more in depth into the cards and the rules and some of the dynamics of the actual pieces, you can check out that first video, the part 1. But what I was going to say was, by all means, if you're watching this and have questions about Marvel Crisis Protocol, or you have you want to know more about the game itself, you want to know more about the kit, I could delve a little deeper. So I'm just grabbing the pieces I need. All right, so I actually don't need the underneath of the Chimichanga truck. So where we're off to next is going to be the sides of the Chimichanga truck, which is what I need. And you can see, I love how already we have this awesome graphic. You can see all the other graphics that they have on there. So what I love about the Marvel Crisis Protocol models is that even the terrain, everything is molded. And what's really cool is that this is in fact a terrain piece. So I love that, you know, this game, you could throw this truck. Like, there are characters that will be able to throw this truck at someone as a terrain piece. So they give you terrain pieces in the kits, which I think is amazing. Now if we take a look, not to say that we won't need glue. Actually, let's do that. We definitely will more than likely need glue. Does it give me any indication as to which way this should go? No, because it's all... And that's kind of cool the way that they did this. So I don't know if you guys can see. But they made it kind of a modular car. So you can't really screw up putting it together because whatever orientation you put that bottom piece, it's going to work with everything else. I'm just trying to dry fit. Everything together so we could just see a little bit more how that's going to fit together. So what I'm going to do is with my glue, I'm just going to pop a tiny bit of glue in each of those holes. I'm going to try to be a little conservative because I tend to be a little too, I think, over the top with the glue, and that gets me into... Oh, actually, so I'm glad that I looked at this. So there was the tailpipe piece. All right, so I'm very glad I looked at this. So I did this totally by accident, but there is actually a part for the tailpipe. So you got to be real careful, actually, the orientation you do put this on, because you could inadvertently screw up your whole build if you screw it up. My assumption is that this will be a pretty quick build. I'm just going to stick. So what I'm doing is I'm just sticking a little bit of like glue in the channel. I do this all the time. So when you put the piece on top of it, it'll just go in there. So you'll see what I mean in a minute. So obviously we'll fit all of this. And then before that dries in, we just gotta get all of our pieces together. There we go. So I just put a little bit of glue so that it gives it some stability, but you could see how solid, and that's, again, just such a testament to the guys that do the modeling for them, how nice and solid this is. All the train pieces I've been really, really, like, extremely, you know, impressed with how they're building and how they're doing. All right, and then we're going to do, of course, the front and back. So that's going to be this one. And like I said, we'll probably have this truck built pretty fast so we can get right into the painting. For all you folks that rather maybe want to see the painting and don't necessarily want to see the building. I have plenty of other kits to build for Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we have a lot to review, so do not be surprised if we're doing every other day maybe a Marvel video. I don't know. All right. And then same thing like the rest of our car, you'll see that we have studs there. So again, real easy to just pop that in. And sometimes, because their modeling is so good, I'm going to put some glue in there. They really do snap in real well. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in here, a little bit of glue on these nubs, and a little bit of glue in here, just so there's a couple of glue spots. And there we go. So we just have that nice and sealed, not overly glued. You can see even like the downward, like tilted, the tilted license plate. So very much a, you know, used chimichanga truck, because of course Deadpool, as he would say in the comics, he has to, you know, cut down expenses. You know, he's never portrayed as the richest Marvel character, so he is definitely working hard for the money that he makes. You could already see the chimichanga truck is very much coming together. And then we're going to go with the roof, which is on this sprue, so just a basic roof. And obviously I'm going to have a lot of fun painting the chimichanga truck, because I can go, you know, I can look at a couple different things. I'm probably going to do something that's like a little bit more hazard chimichanga truck. So it'll have the Deadpool flair, but it'll It'll have a little bit more. Oh, and that's pretty cool. I didn't even notice that, but there's an arrow. Which... Okay, so they do not tell you in there. But I would assume... Oh. I would assume that the arrow... hand has a little bit of glue on it, because you want to have the front part because it's a little bit more of an overhang, so it gives it that feel of the front of the front of the chimichanga truck overhang. All right, and now that we did that, oh my god, it has a folding. That's crazy. So the detail, that's nuts. All right, so we have to do the little folding chimichanga truck. That's nuts. All right, so we got to cut this out. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay. And then we have to, all right, so then we need pieces. Okay, there. Ah. All right. Are there any screws? No, because there's literally pieces on every one of these screws. So even though, so the truck, I will say the screws are a little weird. All right, so we need 5. All right, I'm gonna try to get you guys shots of what I'm doing. I'm sorry, I'm working a little haphazardly. I apologize. So that's 5. Let me just look at the guide because the truck is so big. I wanted to not have the guide in front of me. Okay, so. Oh wow. Okay, this is going to be yeah. So, it's hard to see. I'm going to try to show you guys a close up. I just want to get a little bit of glue on that. So if you look, there is a nub on there, and it actually is tilted. It is slanted so that you can get the right hanging angle for the chimichanga flap. Because remember, it's a food truck, so it has to have like the sort of like service window. That's crazy. And that's what I love about this company. Even they figured that out, like from an engineering standpoint. Like in a lot of other model companies that I've gotten kits from, that would have been a question. That would have been a choice where you would have probably, they would have given you the nub, but you would have had to still position it. It probably would have been a circular or ball joint, and you'd have to figure that angle out. But if you just follow the groove the way that it is, it will naturally curve it, which is unreal. Like, so you'll see, like when I naturally glued it, it naturally made the angle that I needed. So now, because I'm using crazy glue, I am going to be a little bit quicker with this. And the reason why is because I want to get to the next step, which is putting it on the truck. So that before the glue dries, yeah, I can. Yep, and that's exactly why. So I will say, as good as those nubs were, and I tried doing it like I always like to review things by doing it the way that they do it in the instructions. I would recommend whoever's doing this, just don't do what I just did. You know, put those in there and get everything set up, because then you get the angle right. If you do it the other way, you do, even though they do a real nice job, So what I'm doing here is I'm like kind of throwing some super glue in those joints. This will probably just stay there. You won't have to glue that down. But yeah, I would recommend not building it the way they tell you to, because it is a lot harder to do it that way. All right, what's 11? I'm assuming 11, yeah. So 11 is this piece. It's like the actual, like... It's like the actual, like, shelf. I have a funny idea of what I want to do here, but... So you can see already, just awesome detail. Like, they've already done a great job with this. And again, I say it all the time. It's so nice because they do such a good job of just like getting all your pieces correct and just fitting so nicely. All right, so I have 3 and I have 4. Okay, 3. I also love that they do things like this. So a lot of people might say, why do they do this? Because on the sprue it doesn't connect to anything. That actually gives it the counterweight, so when you actually break these off, they don't break. And I always am angry at GW because they make thin, awesome models, but they don't do little things like that, so you'll actually be cutting out the model and you'll break part of it in your hand. And I've done that multiple times in my GW career of model making, where we just lose this beautiful detail or piece. This is insane. The level of detail that they've did on this chimichanga truck is unbelievable. And again, this kit was only $50. Like, you're getting a terrain piece and figures for $50. I don't know a lot of games. I don't know a lot of game companies that would give you like that level of model building. Like, they would not give you that level of detail, and they would not give you that level of just product. You know, it would you know, this would easily, as a GW kit, be like a $70 kit, if not closer to $100, just because they're giving you a terrain piece and they're giving you 2 quote-unquote named characters, or, you know, quote-unquote special characters. But of course, that is one of the coolest parts about the Marvel Crisis Protocol game, is that all of the characters you get in the game are specific because of what the game is, because all of them are superheroes. So you're getting named characters all the time. All right, so I have to do our axles, which these should not matter because each axle is the same piece. One is not different than the other. Okay, axles are in. Tires are in. Very cool. So I'm just gonna turn those off. And I don't know if you guys noticed, there's a bunch of chimichangas. There's trays, so we'll have some decorating options when we're done. Now, I'm gonna guess that these are not gonna be fun and just snap on. No, so they gotta be glued. But I don't know if you guys saw, there's a little divot there. So you literally, again, just the attention to detail in the sculpt. You have a divot to do that, so your tires go on the right way. Which is just, again, another little, like, just how awesome this company is at just putting in those little build details to make it so much easier. So, like, putting the models together are so much faster. Like, if I was doing this in the world of, like, GW, and other gaming companies, I always, like, you know, I know that I always, like, talk, I always have a lot to say about GW, but there's a lot of, I've built, and I love the guys at Mantic Games. I've built models from them that have been, like, kind of wonky. Privateer Miniatures. Like there's a lot of other like small, big, medium, large companies out there that I've had similar. Okay, so we're doing this. Okay, interesting. So we put those together, but then we're putting these flaps on. I'm just making sure I didn't miss something. Sorry guys, this is I'm confused. Because I feel like we should have put this base piece in. Oh, we're installing. Are these mud flaps? Tell me these are mud flaps. Oh my god, there are mud flaps on this. Oh, that's awesome. And they're in the back, right? Sorry guys, I'm trying to get you an angle. I keep like being bad with the camera tonight. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can see. But you have mud flaps. Oh, that's ridiculous. They even put the mud flaps on the truck. I can't. I can't. Now watch me. In pure like building fashion, I'll put these on backwards, which I'm usually pretty good at doing stuff like that, but I think this time I got it right. Oh. Alright, come on. No. Ah. I was doing so good. And it's okay if the mud flap is a little off, because, maybe Deadpool and Agent Bob got a slightly used truck with a tilted mud flap. And you know what? There's something to be said to that. I always talk about that so you guys could see I had to put on mud flaps. Like, that's crazy. It's just crazy. All right, so this piece I already had out, and we're just going to put a little bit here, a little bit here, here, and here, just so parts of this don't come apart on me. Okay. Ooh. Trying to be mindful of everything. There we go. Perfect. Now, you guys might notice there's a 3 underneath this. So remember how I was saying before that characters will be able to pick up the truck? Well, that's what the 3 stands for. So characters of height 3, so 3 or higher, will be able to actually physically lift the truck up and throw it at someone. And that's kind of how they do strength in the game, which I think is really a cool mechanic. For that, it's also a way that they do like elevated terrain or flying as well. Oh my god, look how awesome this is looking. Look at that. It's so cool. We have a freaking chimichanga truck. All right. Okay, so they literally... Alright, so you guys are going to take a look. The last instruction was to put the wheels on. So they gave me no other instructions for decorating. So all of this extra screws is all just extra stuff for you to have fun with decorating. So this is what I mean. I love this company. They give you all this stuff. So if you want to start putting chimichangas in other people's stuff, you got little drinks, you got cups. Like, you can go to town and have all the chimichangas you want. So wait, we're not even put that's got to go on the front of the car, doesn't it? Yes. Okay, so I must have missed that. Yes, I did miss that step. I was like, that has to go on the front of the car because it's Deadpool's chimichanga truck. I'm like, that definitely has to go on the front of the car. So the part I missed, and I was gonna fault the kit for it, but it was on there. I just didn't see it. You got to put the emblem for Deadpool, of course, so you know it's Deadpool's chimichanga stuff. But I'm gonna hold off on doing all the decorative stuff on the chimichanga truck. But I think that that's just super cool. Like, it's so well done. They did such a nice job, and there's so much detail on the truck. You even have some of the chimichangas like on their bases. Like, you could play around and have the chimichangas anywhere. Alright, so I'm gonna leave the chimichanga truck in the back. That is gonna bring us to a close on... Man, they give you so much chimichanga stuff. Like, they gave you a full assortment of chimichanga accessories there. They gave you a couple of more on this sprue. Like, they give you a ton. So I may play around and put some of them on the bases. I might even put them on other people's bases because that would be kind of fun. So we'll leave those as sprue bits and parts. All right, so now let's talk about our big guys. So we're gonna do some painting now, not of Marvel stuff. Although I could paint some Marvel characters. I do have a few that I haven't painted yet. But I wanted to explain a little bit about what's going on with these. So these are essentially a commission. So a commission I'm working on for some D&D models for some folks that are playing an adventure. If you're not familiar with D&D, for wizards, there is something called a polymorph wand that literally can turn you into a variety of different creatures or things. And you use the wand and turn it into a giant dinosaur. You can use the wand and turn it into a giant ape. But the person who I'm doing this commission for had a little bit of a twist. So with this twist, they wanted me to do the coloring. They wanted the coloring to be Godzilla and King Kong. So I am going to get a picture. We're going to work on Godzilla now. I know what Godzilla is supposed to look like, of course. But I wanted to have a little bit more of a reference. Specifically... Specifically, I wanted a reference. Yeah, I don't want... Of him sort of like... Like, I wanted more like, you know, a good shot of Godzilla being like radioactive Godzilla and King Kong being like more aggressive King Kong. So, we're going to play around with starting to... Oh, whoops, that's not what I wanted. So we're going to play around with starting to like pull out different things. So one of the things I already see... All right, I think I got a plan. Wow, that took like 2 seconds for me to think of a plan. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to start off with the eyes, because if the eyes work out the way that I want them to, then we're going to be in great shape for the rest of it. Because if it's the right blue, then I know I can use that. All right. All right, so yes. Totally gonna work. All right, so then if that's the case, then we're going to go with this blue. Let me get a bigger brush so I can do this a little quicker, but yeah, so then that means now it's interesting. These are pre-primed models, so I should mention where these models came from. But these models are WizKids. So these are WizKids models. These are they are D&D models. So for a lot of people, they don't know, because D&D does have things like the spells and different stuff. They do have some zany models, and they of course have some creature models as well. Because there are quite a lot of realms. There's actually one realm in D&D where there are like there are dinosaurs and things like that. So it is not uncommon. Which we're gonna paint all of this that radioactive kind of blue. So actually, I'm just gonna go. Let me go a little further. I said I was gonna do that. Because I don't want it to just be like a little bit of the model has that radioactive green, because the whole idea is that he charges up that attack and then shoots people. So, you know, if I'm going to inspire him on that color scheme, now some of you may be asking, why are you doing this part first and not doing the larger area? I have to lay down this color before I start doing the gray that I'm going to put on it, because if I don't lay down this color first, it's a lighter of the two colors, so I will not be able to go back and do that. So I'm just trying to pull out, and the reality of it too is that I am, you know, kind of, for lack of a better word, like sort of figuring out how or where I want to sketch out this color, because he's got some natural forms, and I want to take those natural forms and make that you know, that blue color come through. And the nice part is, if I'm a little messy with this, I can always come back and be tighter with the actual and are you guys liking this? I feel like you guys wanted to see Marvel stuff. I'm gonna do just a tiny bit of painting on this, and then we could jump over to a Marvel character. I know for some people this might, you know, I get nervous on Twitch, because I know you guys, if you come and see a streamer doing other stuff, which technically, and I'll flex some of my Marvel knowledge, technically Godzilla, you could claim, is a Marvel character, because there was a time where Marvel did release and they did do Godzilla comic books. So technically, and they did do a few series, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when Godzilla movies came out and they were very popular, I think they did do a few characters meeting Godzilla. So, and obviously, this would be a great, and you know what? I'm now thinking about it. I might actually go buy one of these models for myself, because this would be a great way to do Moon Girl. Like, I could definitely mod this into Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which would be really fun. I'm assuming that Atomic Mass Games, who makes Marvel Crisis Protocol, will eventually do that. I'm just gonna bring, even though the model doesn't necessarily have that, I'm just gonna make it like there is this like kind of radioactive spine on there. So I'm kind of using some of the muscle tone on the back. I'm not going to make it really, really obvious, but I'm going to definitely go in so you see like again, a Godzilla-esque back. Because it's weird, I guess the mold, again, I don't know, my assumption, and I should have did more research on this model, but I believe this model, I don't think it's specifically for the polymorph wand. I think it's actually for Tomb of Annihilation, because that's the setting in D&D that happens on like jungle. So there's like there are like dinosaurs and other kinds of creatures, or things that are like dinosaurs, because they don't, I think they call them dinosaurs. So there's like creatures that are sort of like dinosaurs, and like crazy magic robots. There's like robots there. Tomb of Annihilation happens in like a jungle, and it's like a crazy magic user like makes all these enchantments happen, which is just like kind of insane. So again, for you guys joining us, this is a commission that I'm doing. They wanted the models to look like Godzilla and King Kong. So I'm just popping those in and doing those guys. So that's why I'm kind of using the Godzilla radioactive, and I'm gonna bring that into other elements of him, since he doesn't have like radioactive kind of shards or crystals, which if you saw Godzilla or Godzilla King of Monsters, all of that stuff, that, you know, I am basing it a little bit more off of that Godzilla, which of course they based that off of the original Godzilla, because he did have the same kind of coloring. Obviously the design of Godzilla was very different. Which, by the way, fun fact about Godzilla, they still make Godzilla movies in Japan. A lot of people don't know that, but it is a very active franchise for them. So they do make Godzilla movies, and actually, one very crazy like newer Godzilla movie, which I think was actually one of the first ones where they, like, so as crazy as it sounds, Japan has never done like a 3D Godzilla, and I think this is the first time they used like CGI for Godzilla, because Godzilla has always traditionally been a performer in a costume. And it's like, it was crazy. I think he got infected by a virus, and he like, not that he became a zombie, but he became very like a lot more like horror-esque. Like the movie had a little bit more horror elements to it, which was kind of crazy. I don't know. I love doing monsters. I love painting monsters. Creatures and monsters, I always love painting them more than like just generic people. Which is why, like, a lot of the tabletop wargaming stuff that I do, I'm always like a fan. I always pick the monster or creature armies, because I always like want to paint those things. Pretty much every like war game or tabletop game that I've ever played, I think every decision for what I bought was more than likely, I want to say 90% of the time, it was based off of what looked cool. like I said to everybody, like, you'll see me go back in and, like, I'll revise this, and that's what's great about doing it this way, because if I am sloppy or I miss a spot, I can literally just go right back in and get that spot with the darker color. So and then you guys will see me do a little bit of a model review of Hero Forge. So I have a couple of those models we're going to look at too. So I'm going to try to do some of these more independent companies or smaller auto companies, so we can start doing some stuff. Just should have checked this. Okay, cool. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so I'm just looking to see. I don't want to go too crazy. But maybe I'll make a few of these that color. Oh, let's do that one. I don't want to go nuts. I don't want him to like be a spotted dinosaur. That's not the idea. It's to give, like I said, that impression that we have like a radioactive kind of. Now what's a little weird, and I'll kind of give WizKids a ding on this, they make models and they'll I've gotten mad at them over the years for this. They sort of mold both sides differently sometimes, and this is kind of what's happening here. So you can't necessarily even out your mold. So I'm gonna approximate a couple of areas with the color, and it's probably gonna look a little different. But the good news is that he's in like a mid pose, so it'll probably just look okay without worrying about it. But yeah, you'll see, like, and I've had this happen to me a lot with their models. Like they'll have, and again, I'm trying to lay down this blue color because if I do it the other way around, it won't look right. Actually, this whole thing I'm going to do blue. I have to do the same thing on the other side, so I got to just jump back. Yeah, it's like they just have so many different angles and views, and then we could start bringing some of that, and then like all these like back scales, all of his scales I want to do in that like radioactive color. See, but like now if I look here, he doesn't have that area, he doesn't have that back area, so it's like it's just a little annoying. But like I said, if I feel after I do this that I don't like it, I can very easily just hide it with the darker color. So it's like I can kind of sketch out some stuff now, and then I can always rescind it and go back. So it's never a set in stone kind of thing. Oh, and I did one of my classic touch the other side of the model and get paint on my hand moments, which I do a lot. I say I'm a good painter, but I am a messy painter. I get to the same place that another painter does. I just do it a lot messier. And actually somebody characterized it for me once, I think in a really good way, and they said, you know, you could tell, like with me, you could always tell that I'm a little bit self-taught, because I am definitely using aspects of things that are, definitely grounded in like traditional painting. Like a lot of my model painting I come from an oil painting and acrylic painting background. So I do use a lot of those tactics when I am painting these models, but I don't necessarily, I'm not necessarily somebody who has either studied or looked at. I mean, I watch obviously different people's approach sometimes on painting, but I'm not one of those people that's been like classically trained by someone on model painting specifically. If people ask me like where my painting comes from, again, I was formally trained in acrylic and oil, but I also did scenic painting. So I actually learned scenic painting, and I will say that probably a lot of that scenic painting background comes in very handy when you're doing models. So for folks that don't know what scenic painting is, if you're familiar with Broadway or television or any stage show, scenic painting is actually creating the scenery that you guys see. So learning how to make concept and painting for that. So I would say that is probably more of where, like, more of the painting that I use on a more consistent basis for this kind of stuff. So again, I'm just bringing... Oh, sorry. You guys got to tell me I'm not in frame. I'm staying specifically away from the face, and the reason behind why is I want to really look at Godzilla's face, because of course the new like movie Godzilla, he doesn't really have, his face is very much one color. It's very much just like his whole skin is basically a gray. But of course, Godzilla has a very different look when he powers up and he's going to attack. So that's okay. We're going to clean that up. If you guys have any questions or comments, I'm always a fan of you guys shouting out in the chat. I love helping people while I'm painting. If there's a project you're working on, I always like to hear about what people are working on. And just so you guys know, for all you Games Workshop fans out there, I did get my hands on, and I do have a copy of the new Age of Sigmar box. So we'll be looking and reviewing those models too. Once I get some other projects done. And I know I say it every week, and I thank you guys for being here and supporting me, but please, 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 I promise that we'll get better at our schedule of videos. And I know usually on nights like tonight, you guys are used to watching us do D&D stuff, but our schedules do not align, so that's why I'm doing kind of something D&D related, which is the painting stuff. So hopefully you guys are finding this fun. And I thought the reason I wanted to do this too was I thought it was a cool little project because of the whole idea that we're, you know, you guys are seeing me working on a process of something that is going to, you know, we're trying to get a color scheme of something like Godzilla. So you're getting to see like what my process of doing that is like, and how, even though clearly this is not a Godzilla model, I'm going to make it kind of look and feel like, you know, he is in fact a little bit more of the Godzilla persuasion. And already I could see it. Now, when he charges up, as I say, I don't think his claws change. And if you guys out there have any comments, questions, or even want to just tell me, hey, Godzilla totally doesn't look like that, I'm down for that too. You know, if you guys are like, oh, hey, now I know in the movie, because he has shown his tongue, I'll show you what I'm going to do with this. I have an idea. I'm going to see if it works. If it doesn't work, then I'll have to re-white the tongue. But I'm going to go over that tongue with the blue. I just have to wait till it dries. And we're going to see if that'll work. To do something cool. Because you can... A lot of people say you cannot layer contrast paints, and that's not true. So I'm using the GW contrast paints, but you can layer them. That is 100% true. Come on, camera, focus. Oh, it's not focusing. You can layer them. You just have to be strategic about how you layer them. Get my paints on this side, because I always do that. I put my paints like underneath where I'm painting, and that's why you guys are always mad at me, because you're like, he's not showing us the camera angle right, because I'm afraid I'm gonna knock the paint over. It's also hard with these particular models because unlike other models, I usually clamp them onto a handle, but because this is it's these WizKid models, I'm not able to do the same thing. Wow, I'm being real messy with this. Okay, this was too messy. I went too fast and I shouldn't have used this big of a brush. I'm gonna pay for that later. I didn't realize how small the bottom teeth were. They're not the same scale as the other teeth. So what we're gonna do is, let's just get those back teeth painted. Okay. The problem with WizKid models, they're great. I love WizKids, but you know, WizKids, they're the company that makes HeroClix, and not that HeroClix models are bad, because they're not. but their scale is always a little, they make models on a smaller scale. So when they make them, they're molding, like they're obviously still using the HeroClick process, because their models are still made out of that same material. Now, I am using the I did go ahead and let go with the these are what's the word? They are pre-primed, so they are supposedly primed in such a way that you should be able to just take them out of the box and paint them like I'm doing. Which I do think is true. Part of why I'm going with this right now is because I have to get these done a little on the quicker side. So I didn't want to have to reprime them, and it's been extremely hot here. And if you guys are veterans to the whole priming process, I don't know if I'm going to keep that. I was trying something with a color. I don't think I like that color. I don't want to. But yeah, so I was trying. I have in the past used the contrast paints on, these pre-primed models, and they work very well because of the nature of the contrast paint. So it should not be an issue to do that. But I will see if I feel like it's not good enough, then I can always hand prime it with white, which is not my my best bet always, but I'll do it in cases like this where I have to go a little faster on the paint. All right, we're gonna commit to it. We're gonna commit to the color. I'm gonna see if it works. It actually might work. It doesn't look horrible. It does do what I wanted it to do. So we're gonna commit to it. We're gonna try it. Okay, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look, because again, like I said, I not that I don't want to make him look exactly like Godzilla, but Godzilla is a little bit, he's a little bit basic in his color choices. He's not and then I just want to do a test. Yeah, so that's the right color choice, because that is the color choice for Godzilla. So from a basic color perspective, the color scheme is definitely right. So I'm going into these folds and like places that I clearly know I'm not gonna do anything other than that gray. But yeah, that is 110% the right color. So I'm going to just go around this because I can already see, and I'm going to have to repaint some of this. But you guys can see what I'm doing is I'm just specking that in to get it to blend with the other color, and then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to fix that. But so far, I think I'm... And then what you guys will see is, if you see, I'll go in, and let's say I come close to that. See how nice that all buds up? It's real nice in the way that it does that. So, you know, I can really play with the way in which I'm doing that. So I'm gonna stop at the head because I'm gonna just think about how I want to do the head, because I may want to bring some of that blue color in there. So I know I wanna go down this way. I want all this, but I think I might bring a few more blue elements in. So I'm going to leave those a little on the blank side because I want to paint those blue. As you guys can see, like, this is already coming together very nicely, just to get the color scheme. So we're on target for what I know the person wanted, which is great. That's so cool. Yeah, so we will 100% have a Godzilla-esque dinosaur, which is great. You know, and again, going back to what I said, contrast paints, like, this is kind of the meat and potatoes of contrast. And again, we're just getting started. Like, I'm going to work on this. And I may work on this a little bit and then come back to you guys to show you more. Because, you know, that's what happens when I do commissions like this, especially when I do commissions that are a little bit more stylized like this, where, you know, they want it to look, yeah, I think I'm going to make that a blue element as well, on the leg, because I just think it'll be kind of fun. So that we can make that blue come down to more stuff. And I'm just gonna, you'll see how I'm gonna make these two play with each other. It's gonna be really cool. And that's what happens. Like, I've had this happen so many times. You know, painting this guy actually makes me think of trolls that I was painting. I did a troll color scheme that was very similar to this, where I did, you know, a bunch of different blues, and they had, like, so that some of their structures were like this, where it was scaly, and, like, I had different colors within it, and it was so cool. But yeah, we could already see. So that is 100%. Like, we have hit the mark on the Godzilla 5. It definitely feels like I'm painting Godzilla, so that's good. Yeah, and then just like I was saying before, so you can see, like, now it's the opposite. So when I'm painting with the gray, like, I'm saying to myself, oh wow, like, I could totally, like, round these out. So let me leave it a little bit white, and I'll come back in with that, you know, with that white, with the blue, so that I can get it the right way, and it'll look phenomenal in the way I want it to. Yeah, this is great. And then obviously I'll come back in and do some, like, edging and other stuff, so we'll get more contrast and things in there. But oh, sorry guys. And you can see, and I say this sometimes all the time, you know, you're seeing me kind of in mid-process. So, you know, when I do commissions like this, And I think I'm going to give him like a scar on his eye. I might do some other little like touches where he's got some battle damage, which I think would be kind of cool. You know what, actually, on the other side, let's do something. So let's just make some marks. It's like kind of a painter's sketch, if you will, where I can just do like some lovely fingerprints. And you could actually, the red I can paint over, but I'm gonna just do like a mark in there. Let's do another like mark here. Just so there's like a couple of marks on them. So I'll do a little bit of battle damage, and we can even do like a scar in here. Just so he looks like he's been a little banged up. There we go. So he's going to have a little bit of battle damage. And in fact, I may do that battle damage. I could do that after he's done drying. There we go. Just so there's a couple of moments where he's got a little bit of damage on him. I'll do one here. Just so I'm aware of it, and then what you'll see when I do the gray paint over it, it'll actually like it'll leave a slight impression, and then I can come over and embellish them when I want to and do other stuff. Yeah, that's cool. Because it is, you know, they're fighting. Makes it look a little bit more real, which I think is cool. Sorry, guys. I swear, one of these days I will not make you guys, like, get sick from my camera. Because I know I, like, flip the model around a lot. And I tend to... I say, you know, I say to people when I'm teaching them, like, because... I don't know. I'm toying with the idea of, like, doing live classes for painting. But I say it to people when I'm, like, teaching them in person about, you know, like, model painting. And I've said it on this channel a few times too, is that you're painting a three-dimensional model. So, you know, oops, you have to paint all of space. Okay, all right, got an hour, okay. Alright, I think we're going to switch gears. I know this. I'm usually a fan, especially when I'm doing a color, of getting that whole color laid down, because what will happen with contrast is if I do the color in two different segments, the color will not look correct or it won't look good. But I'm still trying to figure out parts of this guy, so I don't think I have the luxury of doing it that way this time. So I may have to just like scrap it and let it go. Because I can't. So, because the reason behind why I don't like to do it in multiple passes is because you'll actually get the model to the contrast paint, it'll pool, and then if you go over it a second time, let's say, you can create darker shades, and usually I'm good about navigating them and I can do it pretty well. Because that's one of the like cornerstones of contrast paints, is that you're supposed to be able to go over them so that you can darken them. So it's kind of this system of like, oh, you know, painting, over painting. So you sort of lay a lot of it down. It gives you like a base coat that, you know, does dry lighter, and then you just go over it a lot. I just realized it was stupid for me to paint those on. It was more for me to like I said, it was more a painter's sketch so that I could be like, okay, the battle damage I want to have here, here, and here, because once you put the gray down, it is very hard to do it. But I realized that if I do it with that orange, it'll go through the gray. It's dark enough that it will actually lay on top of the gray, and it actually will look good because it'll look like it's like worn in. As you'll see, like if I do it now, see how it just stays there, and then it'll look like it's worn over. So see, and now it'll darken because it'll be the gray will be on top of it, and so it'll look like it's more of an inside skin kind of wound. So it actually looks better when you go over it versus these that'll look more fresh and more like they were standing out. So you can play with the tone, and that's all about how you layer this. And I'm creating that ridge because I wanna bring that ridge up a little bit more, just so I can make it more predominant, so it looks more like he's revving up or charging up. Because unfortunately, I don't have like any ways to like custom model in any like translucence. Like, I don't have those pieces. Like if I was doing this the proper way and the person, you know, wanted to obviously fund the project, I would do it in a. I would have to buy special pieces for this, and I would like insert translucent pieces into there. But as it goes, I don't have the ability to do that right now for this particular project, and I wouldn't have had the time to do something that more elaborate. But you could have. I'd want to mod this. You know what? Actually, I have a toy. I could. No, I don't have the time to do it. I could actually put crystals in this. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess I could have. But see how nice it looks layered? Yeah, I just basically want to get... I'm just trying to get that base tone throughout, and then we can go back in and do some of the detail. I mean, the nice thing about these creatures is that, you know, I'll do, like I said, I will 100% do a little bit of you know, detail work on these guys, and then I've established I'm gonna do, so like I did on this one, I'm gonna make that one. So I'm gonna make this one be my my other type of texture there, and then I'm gonna do it on both sides. So I just I like to just sketch that out, and then same thing there. I'm gonna make sure that I sketch that out so that that's not gonna be gray, to make my life a little bit easier. And I'm gonna look at Godzilla's feet, but I may do a transitional color for the feet. I don't know yet. I'm gonna see what I want to do. Sometimes I like to do that. And what's good about this is, I mean, it is like dinosaur scaly skin. So if it's a little splotchy, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I can fix that later if I feel like I missed something or I didn't do it the way that I wanted to. Yeah, so like for this, I'm gonna basically just comb that. I might like expand that a little bit more. I did a pretty good job on this side. So on this side, there's not much to really like. So like just over there, but for the most part, I didn't, like you could see, it's pretty nice. I don't have to do too much because I stayed within the structures that I wanted to stay in. It's just a little bit here that I have to do. again, I'm not gonna go into the head because I just want to look. I want to look at Godzilla's head to see. I just want to look at it to see if there's any discernible stuff. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure I'm right in what I know it to be, which is just a very gray head. But if there's any like diversion of color, or if there's anything where it could be, you know, just changed a little bit to look a little bit more interesting, I might go, you know, I always like to try to go that route. You know, obviously I want eye-catching models because, you know, I say it all the time, but when you are a commissioned painter like myself, you know, I want every model that ends up on the table to look great. So, you know, and I want, you know, especially with stuff like this, because I know where this person's going to be using these models. I want, you know, I want people to, obviously number one on the docket all the time is I want the person who's using the models to love what they have, and not to shake a stick at it. When I was told, you know, when I was told, oh, I want them to look like, you know, Godzilla, I like Godzilla and King Kong, I was really excited because I thought that was pretty cool. Like, it's a cool piece. It's a little bit more unique than what I normally do for people. It's a little bit more fun. It's actually, funny enough, it's very much the way that I like to paint my models, because I always like to have fun. Like one of my Blood Bowl teams, which I think I've shown you guys, and if you go back to, well, actually, if you go to my YouTube, you might see a couple of the videos for that. But I did them all, so they were called Santa's Little Giant, Santa's Little Helpers, because they were a Snotling team. And if you guys don't know the Snotling team in Blood Bowl, which, if you don't know what Blood Bowl is GW's game of fantasy football. But it's literally, when they say fantasy football, most people, when they hear fantasy football, they think that they're picking, like, you know, a team that doesn't exist from like real players that play football. Well, in the world of Blood Bowl, it's fantasy characters playing football. So it is very comical and very funny, because obviously, you know, now you have like ogres and goblins and vampires and undead people like playing football. And as you could probably imagine, when you have mystical creatures with powers and so forth, there are different rules to football, and the most crazy thing of all, and the coolest thing of all, is obviously you start killing each other and, you know, actually maiming and dismembering each other, which, let's be honest, we all watch football a lot of times for the mayhem, for like potentially people, you know, the brutality of the sport. Like, let's just be honest. Like, Blood Bowl is a Blood Bowl. Football is not, you know, sunshine and rainbows. It's so, yeah. So as you can imagine, when you start to have fantasy characters doing that, it gets pretty funny. So that is what Blood Bowl is. So it is a pretty amazing game. And so I did a team called the Snot. So they were a Snotling team, and Snotlings are, best way to describe a Snotling is like, think of it as a runtier goblin. So think about if goblins were beefier and fighty, and oh, whoops, these are actually veins. Okay, I could have done that differently. All right, I might. Nah, that's fine. They have to be done this way. Yeah, because they have to be done that way so that they'll get the contrast, and then I can work with it from there. But yeah, Yeah, so the snotlings are run to your goblins. That's the best way to describe them, to give you guys a picture of them. So they're what if, essentially, goblin run to your goblins were playing football. Um, but because you probably are all saying, well, I would assume if a goblin who's a runt was playing football and there was like an orc or whatever, like they're going to be so much more powerful. So that's not going to be fair for that player to play that team. Well, the folks over at GW thought that out, so the Stotling team does have heavy hitters on it, and the heavy hitters are ogres. So it is literally a team of really, really small goblins who are most likely going to die from a multitude of injuries, some of which are self-inflicted because since they have ogres on their team, ogres think one of the greatest ways to obviously score a goal or pass the ball is to simply throw the goblin with the ball at the end zone. So they could die just from a play that their team tried to execute. So, and you know me, guys, and if you've been watching the channel and supporting me, you know that I am a sucker for crazy, wacky characters. Which don't anyone out there in TV land think that the minute that this game, Marvel Crisis Protocol, which we started the video talking about, and kind of still are, because I like I said, I am actually very intrigued about maybe picking this model up and doing a Devil Dinosaur with it. And just doing a whole nother paint scheme to it, but because it is actually perfect for Devil Dinosaur. You could turn this into Devil Dinosaur in like 2 seconds. But yeah, don't think that if these guys, and I'm sure they will, because they are very comic. The folks at Atomic Mass Games that make Marvel Crisis Protocol, they are very comic focused. So if they make a Howard the Duck figure, I will be buying that as soon as possible. I don't care if it comes with, literally they could sell me an entire city worth of terrain. If I have to pay money for him, I don't care. I don't care if he comes with a ton of stuff. I don't care if he comes with stuff that I don't want. I love characters like him, and to have rules to play him in a tabletop game fighting other characters, well, that would just be unbelievable. I'm just gonna go and paint these hands, because I don't need to look at a picture of Godzilla to know what the hands are. The nails I will look at, because I don't know what color his nails are, but alright, so we're almost there, guys. I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to get a really good, like, base coat of this gray on everything that I know is going to be gray. So going back to what I said, I like doing this because then there's no variation in the paint. Oh, sorry, I'm doing things off camera again because I'm trying to go fast. I don't want the paint to dry. That's why I'm going so fast. Sorry, guys. And for the folks that have been sticking with me and watching me, I really appreciate it, and thank you. Consider looking at my YouTube channel. Consider looking at the links below. I'm going to be on in like 2 more minutes because I'm going to do some more stuff. I'm just tidying up some things on the head. All right, so in this case, I did go all the way up here. Okay, so I have to match that. So I did do that there. Like I said, I just want to have an option with the head. All right, so make sure that I do this right. Yeah, let's get this all nice and sewed up in there. Get some of that in there. Okay, all right. Yeah, this is always the trick, is like how far up you go. And like I said, the other thing that's just annoying about WizKids models is, as you can see, there are structures on one side that aren't on the other side. So it becomes this very common like teetering thing. Sorry guys, it's easier for me to work on just getting into these areas but having it down for a minute, because this is like crunch time for me now, in the sense that I have to remember because this is where it gets really, really confusing, because there's a lot of different ideas that I'm sketching out on this model right now, and I am figuring some things out. So I'm just trying to get my my thoughts together and in order, so I can like know where I'm coming back in with that blue, know where I'm coming back in. So like here I want to definitely do that blue. So I'm just going through and just lightly applying it to get back into these areas, because I don't want to go into that blue in case I want to redo that blue. And then like this structure I want to make white. I want to make white. I want to make blue. So now you can see those structures that I know have to be recolored. I have the opportunity to go back in and do that. And like I said, the nice thing about this blue is I can always come back in and redo these areas once I get the blue in there. So I'm just tidying it up, so when I go back with the blue I can just fill it, and then I can go and back and get that darker edge if I need to. Yeah, so far I'm very happy with where we're at here. Okay, so I think I'm gonna let the T-Rex I'm gonna let the T-Rex, aka Godzilla clone, have a little bit of a breather. I'm gonna take an eye break, and then we're gonna come back. I wanted to do some PS5 stuff, but I think you know what? I think I owe you guys some more painting. I haven't done painting in a while. I'm gonna do some more painting. I'm gonna confirm that the thing on my PS5 is done. And if it is done and it works, then I'll have some additional content for that, which is good. Since we now can do some PS5 reviews, which I'm so happy about that I got myself. Again, I was so lucky to get that PS5, which was great. Okay. So far, I think we're doing really well. So I think we're gonna break there, guys. This is an hour and a half stream, and then I'm gonna come right back. We're gonna do some more videos, and like I said, I'll do some more Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff. I got plenty of people to paint. Maybe we'll do Sabretooth when we come back, so you guys can see that model. It'll take me a minute to get the Chimichanga truck and everybody primed, and then we can start working on those. But I am pretty happy with the start of our Godzilla, and obviously we'll get King Kong going once I get that painted. And if you guys like this, please think about subscribing to the channel. So please follow, please set up notifications to be live with us. Check out my links below. Again, a big shout out to Undiscovered Realms, where I get all of my model stuff. So I always like to give them a shout out. You know, it's where I get my paints, it's where I get my models, it's where I get everything. So again, Undiscovered Realms, you can check out a link to them below in my channel. Check out their website. Please support them. They're a great local place here. And they got trading card games, tabletop games, painting supplies, you name it. They got a ton of geeky stuff. Check them out. Again, love this Chimichanga truck. So I'm going to say that the Deadpool Atomic Mass games, models, awesome. Can't wait to play with them in the actual Marvel Crisis Protocol game, and we will soon have full battle reports and other stuff going on, because I can now get my friends back in the mix since we're all vaccinated. So we will see you guys very, very soon. And please don't hesitate to come back and see us. And as always, please stay safe. Wash your hands. Think about getting vaccinated if you haven't already. Although I know a lot have. It saves people. It helps us. And it gets us back to the cool things that we all want to do together as a family and as a geeking community. So take care, everybody. I'll see you very, very soon.